mean, they had the testimony of Sammy Ramirez, a high up, supposedly high up Nuestra Familia gang member who, supervised the Norteño street gangs. And he provided this theory of the prosecution, which was that there is a green light on the mob gang, and that in order to get that green light lifted, they had to commit crimes, specifically the murder of Sureños.
Sure, how he was tied to their creation. He himself testified that his business partner was Javier Garcia, who was, the evidence showed, a shot caller, a leader of this mob gang.
Nosotros fumamos, chingamos, nalgamos, peleamos, cuetamos, aquí estamos y no los vamos, rifamos todo. ¡Chao! ¡Ahú! ¡Ahú!
Welcome to Gangster Music and Dirty Politics. Now, before I get to the subject at hand, man, I want to let you motherfuckers know, homie, that be your own man, money. You know what I'm saying? Don't get influenced by these other motherfucking cats, money. Don't let nobody talk you into being a motherfucking hater, my boy. You know what I'm saying? And with that said, money, I ask that you go subscribe, money. I ask that you hit the motherfucking like button. I ask that you leave a comment. And like I said before, if you ain't got nothing good to say, don't say nothing. You know what I'm saying? It's just the best way to go about shit. It's less disruptive for your own life. You know what I'm saying? Now, let's jump into this whole most powerful. Now, most powerful money is the mob times PALMAS. These are two gangs, money, that in this period of time, these two gangs were at probably one of the most violent eras in Soho. And in that decade, I'm saying, and it wasn't even the decade, money. It was a 2-3 year period where these two hoods were just off the fucking hook, money. And don't get me wrong, these hoods have been off the hook in the past, money, but not together. You know what I'm saying? And before I jump into this whole motherfucking thing, money, let me break down a little bit about PALMAS, money. Because a lot of cats don't really know about PALMAS. You know what I'm saying? PALMAS been around for a long time. It's probably, if not the first or second or third oldest neighborhood in Soho, money. You know what I'm saying? And PALMAS is the hood that you got to give that type of credit to, because they're a hood that's, been going at it with everybody on the east side from the fucking gate, my boy. But they've always been really well respected. You know what I'm saying? These vatos are like they're the chucos, money, of the motherfucking east side, homie. The cholos, the gangsters. That's their shit, money. Back in the days in the 90s, if you went to King and Story, money, there was a lot of cats out there moving around with P hats, and the P was a hood that all the hoods, you had to motherfucking respect, money. Not because you wanted to, but by force type of shit. You know what I'm saying? And I was locked up with a lot of cats from PALMAS. I did time with cats from PALMAS, and PALMAS have always been solid ass vatos, and they've always, held their barrio in high regards, money, and these people have always been, involved with other things when it comes to outside the street shit. You know what I'm saying? So all that shit from in there carries out to out here. So these vatos have been factors, you know what I'm saying, in our city for, for decades. And PALMAS, like I said, man, they're like on their 7th or 8th generation. They've been around for a long time, my boy. And they're not, like I said, they're not a barrio that you want to fuck with, money. And there's not really another hood on the east side that's on the same level as PALMAS. Now, I don't really know too much about PALMAS now. I'm talking about, anything I talk about, it sounds like I'm talking about current events, and I'm not. I'm talking about the past, money. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, though, PALMAS has always been relevant. Because there's a lot of barrios in Soho, money, that was around, and then they had died out. You know what I'm saying? And then they came back 5-10 years later, and they died out. Then they came back 2-3 years later. There's some hoods, like the Mob, the Shoe, PALMAS, and certain neighborhoods that just never died out. You know what I'm saying? They just always been there. You know what I'm saying? And the P, like I said, they always been relevant, money. And during this time period, money, 2007, 2008, 2009, if you remember, the P had got indicted, money. You know what I'm saying? Because they was out there doing vicious ass shit. And during this timeline, money, this period of smashing, money, the Mob and PALMAS were together, money, and the PALMAS had got indicted, money, the Mob got indicted. You feel me? All behind the savage shit that was going on with these two barrios, money. But Palmas, like I said, money, I can go back. There's a couple of vatos from Palmas, money, that one in particular I look at like family. Another one that, you know what I'm saying, I highly respect, money. And there's a lot of other vatos too, money, but these are two dudes that, like I said, I look at them a lot different, you feel me? So I've always had a good relationship with one of these dudes where a lot of shenanigans was happening, and me and him always spoke, and we always kept everything to a minimum. There was never really no body of warfare between us and Palmas. There was isolated incidents that had happened or occurred over and over here and there, but nothing to where it was body of warfare or any kind of warfare where it was crazy like us in the shoe that were fighting for, fucking 2 decades. You know what I mean? So, like I said, in the 90s, I was able to minimize and keep the whole body of warfare shit from happening when it came between us and the P. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, the P has a long history of getting off of everybody on the east side, money. You know what I'm saying? They went to war with 6, 7, 8 hoods at the same time. You know what I'm saying? So no one can take anything away from the P, money, because Palmas is Palmas, money, and anybody who speaks on them in a degenerate way, money, then they used to know what the fuck you're talking about, or they probably never know real gangsters themselves, my boy. You know what I'm saying? Straight up. Now, on the other side, money, you know what I'm saying? You got the mob, money, which is, it's also an old gang, you know what I'm saying? But it's an old gang that was rebranded with a new name and came out because the original name was Barrio Small Park. Then it was changed to Barrio Libre, and then it was changed to West Side Mob, money. And then West Side Mob went ahead and broke up in a bunch of pieces and spread out everywhere, you know what I'm saying, including the east side. Now, these vatos that were from the east side, known as Eastbound Locals, I just do a video out on them. These vatos were already from the east, homie. And a lot of the young motherfuckers from the mob generation, because the original ones were Eastbound Locals. But this was the next generation of Eastbounders, money. And they were on a whole different level. And, these dudes that got into the hood, money, they were just straight hitters. There was only 2 choices that they had. They either wanted to get in the mob or they were going to get in Palmas. And because they got in the mob, they still had homies and love and favorite dudes from Palmas, so they were still down with those cats over there too. You know what I'm saying? So we already had, a mutual understanding, respect, and relationship with these fucking dudes and on the streets as far as the youngsters. I was locked up, but there was a lot of vatos that were coming in. They were crying and reporting all kinds of shit that these little vatos from Eastbound were doing out there. And they're the ones who told me about the whole most powerful and the mob and the P getting together and putting in work and doing their thing out there, you know what I'm saying? And when you put 2 tribes or just sick ass bastards together, eventually something's gonna happen. You got alcohol, you got drugs, you got hyenas, and that all adds up to fucking problems. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta have the right gente around to keep everything and everybody level-headed. You know what I'm saying? So if you don't got that, then it's a recipe for disaster. You feel me? And like I said, and that's disaster for anybody. See, so these 2 neighborhoods that got together, money, as far as Northern Cali goes, as far as Songho goes, this was a fucking super gang, money. You know what I'm saying? This was like putting a vampire and a werewolf together, money, and making just one fucking sick ass motherfucking beast, money. You know what I'm saying? These fools were not to be fucked with, especially when they got dark. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it was, my boy, when it came to Palmas and the mob, money. And like I said, the mob was a more newer gang, money. It don't have the pinta history that Palmas got, money. You know what I'm saying? We have homies that been to the pen, but we don't have a long history of vatos getting involved with stuff. So because of that, these vatos got a little bit more, you know what I'm saying, influence, money, when it comes to certain shit. You know what I mean? But at the same time, Palmas during this period, money, they were saying Porte instead of Norte. You know what I'm saying? They were saying P side instead of east side. You know what I'm saying? But if you said P side, that was the east side. You know what I mean? Shit like that. You feel me? And so they had their little problemas, but they were getting really heavy duty, money. You know what I'm saying? When it came to how they felt about their hood and what they're capable of doing if they want to do it. You know what I'm saying? And they understood, their capabilities, my boy. And the same thing with the mob. The mob has always been, involved with the resistance, money. They always been, troublemakers, the ones that don't listen. We've never had a strong rapport relationship with anybody behind the walls, and we always try to stay away from all the politics stuff because we gangbangers, money. You know what I'm saying? We do that gangbang shit, money. That's our thing, money. And as I said before, the South Side, it ain't like back in the days. You know what I'm saying? Back in the days, there was probably 2 norteños to every sureño. It ain't like it was back in the days, my boy. You know what I'm saying? As far as the sureños go, they ain't a problem no more. They ain't, it ain't 2 to 1. Before it was 2 norteños to every 1 sureño. So, they had action. You feel me? But now it's like 20 norteños to every 1 sureño. So the numbers have just changed. And I'm talking about Sanjo. I know that other fools have said, oh, well, it's the same Eddie and Coats. So I need to get the fuck out of here. You don't know Sanjo. You know what I'm saying? The South Side is not deep like that no more, my boy. You got the game fucked up. You got little motherfuckers that are running around, especially on the West Side, that are still, trying to put in work and do their thing. But the South Siders are not a threat like they were. And the homeboys really, there's an easy formula to just clean the city up. And all you gotta do is get 5, 10 norteño neighborhoods and go right into that Sudan neighborhood and just fucking post up there. These fools can't even come out no more. And do that to every single hood. There's enough norteño hoods to do that. And these fools don't even meet it no more. It's a fast, easy cleanup. It's an easy, simple solution. And the mob and PALMAS were about that type of solution, money. Because you have real gang members, money. You got the pretty motherfuckers that try to dress up and all red and look pretty and that, but they're hella hard, get tattoos all over their face and go downtown and pick up bitches. And that's all they're about. You know what I'm saying? The whole hood. Then you got these gangster ass motherfucking neighborhoods like PALMAS, like the mob, that don't fuck around and that, like to fuck around with the fuck around and will fuck around and put you in the motherfucking, in a hole, money, in a casket. You know what I'm saying? At the cemetery. You know what I'm saying? Underground, motherfucker with the worms type of shit. You know what I mean? So that's what these dudes were, involved in heavily, money. And like I said, the proof is in the pudding. All the homies from PALMAS got indicted. A bunch of homies from the mob got indicted. And that was all behind this 2-3 year period that these fools were going back and forth handling shit. You know what I'm saying? And then like I said, it came to a point, money, where these 2 hoods, money, they were so tough, money, they were fucking the same bitches. You know what I'm saying? They were sleeping at the same houses. You know what I'm saying? They were putting in work together, money. You know what I'm saying? They were fucking playing around and competing. You know what I'm saying? They was doing a lot of fucking things, money, and representing hella hard. And you gotta understand that when norteños from the mob and PALMAS was putting it down hella nasty, money, on any of the enemies, money, these vatos were putting fear in the enemy, money. And when you do this kind of thing, that reflects on all norteños, money, because these fools fear all norteños when they see norteños doing shit. Because we represent norteño, and norteño goes for everybody, money. So when you're doing these kind of things, like I said, that puts fear in everybody's heart to even fuck with any of the norteños in Sanjo. You know what I'm saying? And it was just 2 rivals who are running around causing that havoc. You know what I'm saying? And the crazy part about it, money, is that these dudes were cleaning house, and other vatos that talk shit and don't like them, or my hood, they weren't doing shit but running their mouths. You know what I'm saying? And that's the fucking cold-blooded thing about it, you know what I'm saying? But the P and the mob did not give a fuck what anybody had to say, because at the end of the day, they wasn't going to say it in these dudes' faces. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, my boy, mob and PALMAS was on some different level shit, G. And what happened, money, is these dudes were doing this shit for about a year, money. You know what I'm saying? They were pocket, they were tight. These vatos from the P were going to Alma and San Carlos. And the homies of the mob were going down into, King and Story area and fucking around PALMAS area and all that shit. And older dudes, money, from both barrios weren't cool with it. Now you gotta remember, it wasn't set in stone, money. It wasn't like the mob and PALMAS were hooked up and OGs all got together and talked. Nothing like that. It was younger generation, money. It was a young generation, and they had groups of dudes from the mob and groups of dudes from PALMAS. They were all together. And that's what made this most powerful, money. And the reason why they were able to do all this is because these were the new vatos from the streets, man. These are the vatos that are running the streets right now, you know what I'm saying? And we weren't out there. I was locked up, like I said. If I was out, I wouldn't have allowed it just because I already know the end results, money. And it might not happen right away, but eventually it will, you know what I'm saying? Because like I said, you can't put a bunch of pit bulls that don't know each other in the same room. You know what I'm saying? You can't put a bunch of gente that didn't grow up with each other, you know what I mean, in certain situations for a certain amount of time, because eventually that shit's gonna blow up. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it came down to, my boy. The mob and PALMAS was so nasty running around doing shit. They were killing shit, money. And people fucking feared these fools, money. And they knew better, because these fools were fucking straight hitters. These fools would go in your fucking house and fucking destroy everything, money. They don't fucking go in there and move in, throw you in the closet, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? It's their house now. I'm just saying, my boy. You know what I'm saying? These fools were savages, G. Savages. There was a lot of shit popping, money. So when you have these two groups of people, money, these type of people, and everybody's not on the same page, or you have new dudes getting out that ain't really feeling what the fuck's going on and what the youngsters are doing, eventually something's going to happen, money, because you got those vatos that are just going to eventually start something with somebody, and then it's going to escalate and get out of hand, and then it's just going to happen. You know what I'm saying? And that's what happened, my boy. You know what I'm saying? Some of the homies from the hood, Palm was kicking it so much, they were at a house party, some of us started arguing, someone pulled out a weapon, and someone got killed, my boy. You know what I'm saying? And after that person got whacked out, my boy, then that other side went and whacked out somebody from the other side, my boy. You know what I'm saying? And I want to say R.I.P. to both sides, my boy, my homie fucking Cruz, and the homies from over there from PALMAS. Anybody who lost somebody in this war, money that, or this, anybody who lost somebody in this situation, my boy, it's a situation that should have never happened, my boy. And I send my condolences. You know what I'm saying? That's the most that I can do, you know what I'm saying? But like I said, if I was out, that wouldn't have happened, you know what I'm saying? Because I know a lot of these vatos from the P, and I wouldn't have let it get so deep to where something possibly could happen. Like I said, it's a way to do everything, money, and the way these guys are doing it, I'm not saying that it was wrong, it was just, there's just some people that can't be around certain people, and you got to keep any kind of arguments or situations to a minimum. You know what I'm saying? And motherfuckers got to be told more than once, and it's just the way it is, money. You know, gang members are hard-headed, money. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to listen to nobody. It's the fucking gang members are the resistance, money. As I always tell people all the time, money. We the tribes, money. We the fucking lost tribes that are running around fucking everywhere, money, and going against being colonized. You know what I'm saying? And that's why we in jails and we put in these motherfucking reservations in the city, you know what I'm saying, where poor areas, money, you know what I'm saying, the red line areas, you know what I'm saying, type of shit. But that's what happened, money, because vatos were talking about, oh, the mob got their head blown out by PALMAS. Like, you don't know what's going on, and you don't even know what happened. These vatos were feeding as fuck with each other, homie, and it was just a fucking misunderstanding that had happened, my boy. And then after that, you know, it was, you know, it's not just a regular misunderstanding, someone got killed. You know what I'm saying? So it's not something that you could just fucking squash overnight and say, oh, you know, Spencer, it was an isolated incident, which it was. This wasn't an issue that was mob and PALMAS, and, you know, there was problems with the hoods. No, this was an isolated incident behind a hyena or whatever else. I mean, I'm not, like I said, I wasn't there. I don't know the full story, my boy. I'm only speaking on it because other people are speaking on it. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And they can give people the wrong idea that these two hoods just didn't like each other, and that wasn't the case. These vatos were tight, these vatos were female with each other. And it's just that sometimes, like I said, new people get out, other people that, you know, are not feeling this are coming around, and then that can create, or they can create a problem, and they'll create problems, and then that's what happened, my boy. A big ass problem was created, and these fools were bucking at each other downtown. Anyway, they seen each other, they're pulling out and pulling, you know what I'm saying, pushing motherfucking issues, my boy. And they went back and forth, my boy, and people got fucked off. You know what I'm saying? People were getting shot, people were getting stabbed. It was one of them things, money, where these are two gangs, money, elite gangs that thrive on putting in work. You know what I'm saying? And they were doing it to everybody in Songho, to where, you know what I'm saying, they ended up doing it to each other. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I got a lot of good ass homies from PALMAS, and that was the last thing that I would have wanted to happen, is for us to have any kind of bad blood, money. You know what I'm saying? And I've been in a lot of places where I see homies from the P, and I walk up and I get at them, money, and I let them know. I always show my motherfucking mad respect and love to all the homies over there from the P, my boy. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I don't speak on this shit, money, to promote gangs, promote gang violence, the lifestyle, none of that shit, money. I'm only here to give you my motherfucking input, and to make sure that we make some clarifications or some clear understanding of what really happened, my boy. Because like I said, other people are speaking on this shit and they don't really know what happened, and I'm gonna speak on it because it has to pertain with my barrio. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I send mine to all the homies from the barrio. I send mine to all the homies out there from PALMAS, money. You know what I'm saying? And with that said, like I said, this wasn't about me talking about who was more tough and who did more work and all that, because that shit don't even matter, my boy. You know what I'm saying? I'm just you know, it's just good that this shit didn't escalate more and then go on for, you know, a long period of time. And like I said, man, this was no way put together to disrespect anybody, my boy. Like I said, I just wanted to touch on it to make sure that people have clarification on exactly what happened. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, PALMAS had got indicted money, the proof is in the pudding. The mob had got indicted, the proof is in the pudding. A lot of motherfuckers got whacked, and a lot of motherfuckers got shut down. And a lot of motherfuckers didn't want to fuck with these fools because they were the most powerful money. You know what I'm saying? There was a mob in the PALMAS money, and I'm gonna leave you with that. Aratos.